What's going on, you guys? It's Keinan Briggs, sports consultant and mentor. This is the second episode, but also the second part of a two-part podcast conversation about what different types of track meets are out there, and also, the importance behind them. Okay, so let me put the title up here. All right, so we already talked about the youth division, right? Now we're going to talk about the high school division. So now let's say you haven't started track and field yet, right? You're brand new and you're thinking about doing track and field. Maybe you tried out already or whatever, right? You're brand new to this. Where do you start, right? Like, how do you even see if it's something that you really want to commit to? Well, if you're up to high school age, you can still go to these events called all comers. All comers, I already explained it before in the other video. Please check that out. However, just to recap as quick as possible, it's a track meet that's designed for anyone who signs up can compete. You pay your one-time fee to enter the meet. You compete, do whatever event you want to do. Once you've established that, like, this is something that I want to do, I want to sign up for high school, then you do that. Some schools now are operating by having tryouts. Some just say you come out, enjoy, have fun. Whatever your region or state does, have fun with that. But I will say, though, if your team does have tryouts, I will put together another podcast that talks about ways to kind of get your juices flowing, ways to kind of get your body limber and prepared to try out and have success with it, because you don't want to be really excited about track and field and then not be conditioned or ready for the sport and then not make a team. And then now you're just left out, right? And now you're 1 year out and you lost 1 year of your college career because you just weren't mentally ready for that. So stay tuned for that. Okay. So now once you get on the team, let's say you try it out, everything works out perfectly. The first or the second type of track meets outside of all comers is going to be dual meets. Dual meets is, oh my gosh, it's really fun, right? Dual meets is what makes track and field a team sport. Many times, club sports, championship stuff, it's very hard to make it really a team thing, other than the relays. But when it comes to dual meets, it changes the whole game up. So dual meets is like an old school way, right? I think it's old school. It's basically your high school versus another high school, right? And the way it makes it competitive and fun is there's a scoring ranking, right? So if you place first place in one of your events, you're going to receive 5 points. If you place second place in that same event, then you're going to get 3 points. If you place third, you get one. So now, out of all, I believe, 16 events that are in California, um, the points are accumulated at the end of the meet, and then you have your winner, right? So the way that you would kind of work things out is the coaches would get the best athletes that fit the best events, right? And for the most part, most schools or most states only allow four events per athlete. So now it's like you have a stud on your team, maybe it's you, right? And you're running the 100, the 200, the 400, and maybe the relay, right? But then the other team has a stud on their team as well. And that stud does long, triple jump, hurdles, and the 200, right? So now they just, you have points on both sides that they're winning. But now it comes down to who's going to be your third place finisher? Who's your second best athlete? How do you get those athletes to work out? Are you going to try to put in someone that's not really good at the 800 and put them in, hopefully try to get third place? Like, all this strategy comes into play. And that's where it becomes really fun, because now it might come down to, in many cases, the last event where the 4x4 team literally just has to win. Doesn't matter the time. It can be the slowest time in the world, or it can be the fastest. At the end of the day, your team has to physically beat that team, right? Or even more dramatic. There's been times where it's been triple jump for us, right? And it's just the meet took so long where triple jump came up, and like I had to find someone who just knew how to jump, right? Or just knew what they were doing to land in the sand safely to earn 1 point because they didn't have enough athletes on their team, right? All these things come in and it really makes it exciting. So dual meets are fun. Um, most athletes, all athletes on the team can actually compete at dual meets. The next type of track and field events are going to be invitationals. Now, invitationals are a little bit harder to get invited to because they're standards, right? So, for example, Arcadia Invitational is a big national showcase, and their standards are very hard to get to. You have to be one of the best in the nation. However, you're going to have regional ones, you're going to have local, maybe even city ones that are easier to get into, and the coach will just invite you guys. There are some fun variations of invitationals, such as relays, where you have three athletes per event, and you just accumulate their time or um, their distances. Like for long jump, the total distance covered is what equates to the winner, right? That's going to be a little bit later on in conversation, but makes it really fun, right? Invitationals allow you to see the talent in your city, region, area, or state and compete against some of the best talent. This is a mini version of like a state championship. However, just a couple notches down, even though you may have some of your state caliber athletes in competition. So not all athletes can make the actual event. However, try it out. I want to put this down here too. Okay. So you guys can see what's going on. Now, the next type of events are like the playoffs, right? So, for example, I'm in California, so I'm going to express and explain how it works here. So, we have one of the hardest routes to be a state champion. For example, Texas has multiple tiers like 1A, 2A, a small school, all those different divisions, and you can be a state champion in that division. In track and field, we don't have that. If you're a state champion, you are literally the best athlete in the state of California, which is a very big state, right? So the way that it works is you have all your meets, right? Then you have league. League is obviously your conference or your schools in your area. From there in California, the only person that's guaranteed is the top one person, the first place finisher. The second and third place have to hit a soft mark, which is very easy, but they still have to hit a certain mark. Now, the way we have it here is, let's say you're still one of the best in the state and you didn't place top three because you got dogs in your division, right? Then how do you navigate that? One time we had a 48-foot triple jumper, a 46 triple jumper, 344, and a 43. And top three go, right? But 44 would have probably been top 18 in the state. So what we did was we allowed any jumper who hits a minimum standard that is set by our association or whatever, right? So fast forward, the athletes who qualify from their league advance to CIF prelims. Now we have four different divisions for CIF. There's division one, two, three, and four. That's only based on how many people are enrolled in the school. So D1 is large school and D4 is smaller school. However, there's no big difference there. So you have prelims, then you have the top nine advance to finals. Make sure I'm on time, cutting it close. The second is going to be finals, right? So CIF finals, it's actually four track meets inside of one. So it'll be Division 4 runs their race. The winner is the Division 4 champion. Then you have Division 3, right? And then you'll have that individual champion. From there, once everyone's complete, they will then compile all the results and say who are our top 12 athletes, no matter the division. And then we'll take the top 12 to move on to Masters. Masters is only in Southern California. The other states, the other regions don't, yeah, not the states, but the other regions, other sections don't have the Masters meet. So we're just getting rid of more people in our area. I don't understand why they still have this rule, but it is what it is, right? Now, from there, at Masters, the top five athletes will go on to state, plus any athlete that hits the minimum state qualifying mark. Now, from there, they all go to state prelims, where the top nine top nine runners, top 12 jumpers will then advance to the state finals, where then we will then crown our state champion. So it is very competitive there. And the reason why our talent is so deep here is because you have to do well to succeed in this state. So I want to continue over 10 minutes because I really need to kind of get this going. But the other thing, which is very important, is making sure that you uh, if you're not good enough yet, right, to advance through these rounds of CIF and make it to state, which is very challenging, right? You still have these track meets, which are considered showcase meets. So Nike has one, New Balance has one, Adidas has one. Basically, you register for these meets. If you're eighth grade or younger, you can qualify for these. Now you can. If you're a freshman, you can qualify for the freshman division. And then they have two different tiers of high school. They have the championship, which is the elite of the elite. Then you also have the like emerging elite section, which is the next tier, right? So you can actually win the emerging elite section, and but still not be in the championship division, right? These meets are very important. So just to recap everything, what I will say is this: to get the most experience out of track and field is one, trying on all comers. Two, get yourself out in front of people by competing at the best experience you can. So that I want to give you guys, pro tip. One is set goals, and you want to set goals that's further than your reality. Number one, do that. The second thing is going to be to get the most experience you can, right? As in, if you can get and qualify as an eighth grader to Nike Indoor Nationals, qualify and go, right? I believe the long jump mark is like 14 or 15 feet. If you can do that as eighth grader, go, right? If you somehow qualify for a freshman division, go, right? Obviously, if you qualify for the high school championship or emerging elite, just go anyway. But you want to make sure you do this between your sophomore and junior year, because coaches are going to be able to see you. You're on their radar, you're on their map, and you can move forward from there. The last thing is going to be challenging yourself once you are committed to these goals, right? Make sure that your network is actually competitive and going to push you and hold you accountable. So if you have athletes on your team that are better than you, strive to beat them, work with them to get better, and then make this competitive friendship, right? That's going to help you get to the next level. And the biggest thing is always going to be like, you might be the best in your state or best in your area. Put your mind in, how can I be the best in the nation? Because you're competing against all these athletes at the end of the day. And that's really going to help you succeed and excel from there. All right, I'm at 12 minutes. I'm way over my thing. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation, part one and part two. All right, till next time.